But that's fine, because at least we're not the Memphis Grizzlies, who are firing their head coach 2 weeks before the playoffs start.
Uh-oh.
The number 5 seed Memphis Grizzlies.
Absolutely crazy.
This did not get reported by Shams. Woj didn't come out of retirement to report it. Not Mark Stein, not Chris Haynes. Nobody reported it. The Grizzlies PR staff tweeted it out. And they said, hey, we thank Taylor Jenkins for his contributions. We're moving on.
This
Wild.
is the craziest thing. Like, this late in the season, like, what are you doing? I guess we're not live in the stream, like, audio-wise. So hopefully we figured that out.
I got it. We're good.
We're good. All right, we're back. Yeah, like, look, Taylor Jenkins, things went sideways last year. And I would not have been surprised if he was let go last season, because it wasn't just like injury after injury after injury, but they also, like, they just didn't play well. And the year before, they had all the drama with Ja and just chaos and like all the outside, like, working its way into the inside. But to do it now with 8 or 9 games left in the season, and you're in a playoff chase, the story here is much bigger than what it is today. And it just doesn't make any sense.
So you initially go to like the Ime Udoka thing in Boston.
Yes.
And we'll get to the Kings got a really nice win over the Blazers last night. We're going to talk about that for sure. But you immediately go to the Ime Udoka situation in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, man, what happened that they would fire a coach who's been pretty successful? He's gone to the playoffs 3 times. I think they only have 1 playoff series win. But last year, things got derailed because of the John Morant stuff, and they had some injuries. But this year, they're the 5 seed right now in the West. I think they're a game and a half out of the 3 seed. So I'm going, man, there has to be something massive going on here. And maybe there is more to it. But then I saw ESPN 92.9, our sister station out in Memphis, quote tweeted the Grizzlies PR tweet and said, Jenkins out with the deuces emoji.
Like, what?
It's like, we had a harsher reaction to Mike Brown being fired, and the Kings were 5 games under. That's their response. So I hit their PD, and I said, hey, bro, what's the deal here? Are we missing something? And he's like, yeah, they haven't beat a good team, or they can't beat a good team. We don't need a playoff series loss to tell us what we know about Taylor Jenkins as a coach. And that's really interesting to me, because they've let this play out this long. And so I wonder, so they just lost last night to Oklahoma City, 125-104. They just got smoked. And I'm wondering if the Grizzlies front office is looking at this. I actually went and, oh, nope, I didn't. I took it down. What a dummy. But they've gotten beat all 4 times they played OKC this year, and they got smoked in all 4 of those games. I think 13 was their largest or their smallest margin of defeat. And so I wonder if the Grizzlies front office goes, hey, there's a trajectory here that we want to be on. And the fact we're not competitive with the best team in the West means we're not on that trajectory. So we're just moving on.
Yeah, but that's like, I mean, that's like pulling the ripcord when you're still in the plane. What kind of insanity is that? Like, I mean, they can spin this any way they want, but you have 9 games left in the season. Like, and this team is 44-29.
Yeah.
They're 15 games over 500.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
They're going to win something very close to or a little over 50 games.
Yeah, I mean, what does this actually do for your team? Does it put you in a better position for draft picks? No. Like, what are you doing right now? Why not just ride it out till the end of the season? And like, look, we're not in their building, so we don't know what Taylor Jenkins is like behind the scenes. But like, this has been a coach that developed a culture of winning in Memphis. He is a leader of men. It is watching them play is something that teams like the Kings should aspire to do. This is a team that plays every single second of every game. And I'm just really confused how you go from like winning 53.9% of your games, a 539 win percentage over 6 years to out the door with 9 games left in a season. So something had to happen, and there's no way that they're gonna this is not a normal thing that ever happens in the league, where a coach just gets fired out of nowhere. The only other coach I remember something like this happening with is Kenny Atkinson, where he had his team winning. I guess maybe who is the Cavs coach? Dave Blant?
David Blatt. Yeah.
David Blatt, where they were he was literally the All-Star game coach.
Yes. He and LeBron just didn't get along, and they said, see ya.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be the All-Star game head coach and got fired right before the All-Star game.
That's where I think you're absolutely right. There has to be more going on here. Like, he and Ja Morant just don't get along, or he and the front office just don't see eye to eye on certain things, whatever it is. But because like you said, what is this? Even if the front office last night is watching them get mollywopped by the Thunder again to lose for the 4th time in 5 games. Even if they're sitting there going, hey, you know what? We've maxed out with Taylor Jenkins. We've gotten as far as we can get with Taylor Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
With the Warriors, with Mark Jackson, they went, this guy's taking us as far as we can go. Even if that's where you think this is going, you need another coach to get you over the hump. Why are you letting him go now?
Yeah.
Because the interim guy, unless they think the interim guy is the guy and gives them a better chance to win this year, then okay. Do we even know who the interim coach is yet?
No, I haven't heard any mention of who that coach is. They were just here. I don't, again, I haven't gone through their coaching staff and really who could it be? Mm-hmm. But let me see. Who is their coaching staff? Joe Boylan.
Sure.
Noah LaRoche.
Yeah.
Patrick Mutombo. I sat by Patrick Mutombo maybe 12 years ago, courtside.
Did he seem like head coach material?
He seemed like a very nice guy. He does not seem like head coaching material, but maybe that's changed.
I'm taking that off the board then.
Jason March is there, former Sacramento Kings assistant coach. Anthony Carter is there, of course, the father of Kings, Devin Carter.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric Schmidt, I don't know who that is. And so I don't know who's taking over this team. I just think it's a very, very strange situation that rarely do you see a team who's careening towards a middle of the playoff team, looking more and more like either a 4 or 5 seed, possibly a 3 seed, just bounce their coach with 9 games left in the season. So again, this is a major red flag. Something's happened here. Mm-hmm. that we will eventually find out about. For today, it's just a really odd moment.
Really strange, dude. Man. We'll see if that impacts the playoff race at all.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies currently the 5 seed. Just a strange decision. But like I said, person I talked to in Memphis was like, yep, totally expected this.
They're 8-11 since the All-Star break. Still, I don't understand it.
Yeah, they were 35-16, and now they're 44-29.
Or
what is that? 9-13 over the last 22. But just let them play out the string.
Yeah,
start working on it next year.
I mean, that's where you're at. I mean, that usually you just clean house right after the season.
Man,
a weird day.
Getting a jump start on it.
Yeah.
Not a weird start for the Kings last night. They beat a little bit of a weird start, actually. I take that back.
A very strange start.
128-107 the final. You guys, people covering the game, you get a sheet of paper with the starting lineups on it.
Okay, so...
And please explain how this all went down.
Yeah, so we get not only do they print it out and they bring it to our media seats. I'm not usually at my media seat until maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the game. So I don't usually wait for the piece of paper. We have a media Twitter account that they send out to only media members, right? So we get starting lineups, a sheet, but a virtual sheet through Twitter every game. Now, for whatever reason, they didn't give us that sheet last game. And the previous game, we didn't get the sheet. So last night, sitting there waiting because I just basically copy paste, put starters and tweet it out. It's what I do every game.
Yep.
Right?
Part of the routine.
It is. And so I'm waiting and I'm looking around like, hey, why are we getting the starter sheet?
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, it usually comes out at 6:30 because that's when the lineups have to be in through the league. They have to be in at 6:30. So 6:31, 6:32, they send this thing out via Twitter to us on a private account, right?
Mhm.
On a locked
Sure,
account,
sure.
right? So we're sitting there, we're waiting. We finally at like 6:58, we get the sheet sent to us.
2 minutes before the game.
2 minutes before the game. Well, the game usually starts around 7. It's supposed to start at 7, but really games start at like 7:05 or 7:07, whatever.
2 minutes before scheduled tip.
Yeah, exactly. So all of a sudden we look at the sheet and the starting lineup is Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis.
Mhm.
Book it, ready to go.
Yep.
Malik Monk is
Sure.
back. The Scott Moak announces the starters.
You're starting 5.
Your starting 5, Sacramento Kings. Announces Malik Monk, but instead of Malik Monk coming out and giving high fives and jumping up and all that, it's Keon Ellis. Then we go to start the game, and Keon Ellis is, getting ready, taking off the warm ups and like walking out with the starters, and we're like, okay, what is going on here? You look at it, so your first instinct is, oh well, maybe Monk got sick again.
Right.
You look, first thing you do, you look down at the bench. There's Malik Monk. Like, okay, Monk's on the bench. Keon's in the game. Anyway, the opening tip happens and Keon Ellis is starting and not Malik Monk. And I don't know if this is I'm pretty sure it's a league violation. I'm not sure exactly what this is. I'm sure the league is gonna have something to say about it. I'm sure the Blazers weren't too happy about it. And I don't know if this was gamesmanship or what, but when I asked Doug Christie about it in postgame, he said, "Oh yeah, this was the plan to start Keon." It's like, then who messed up? Because somewhere along the way, somebody messed up because that's not the way it goes.
So, do you think they put out the starting lineup with Malik on purpose?
I don't know. I mean,
isn't this the second time they've had some issue with their starting lineup this year?
Yes, that the other time they said that was they tried to blame it on a PR staff or something.
Huh.
Like the last time it happened was they said, "Oh, it was a typo," and that was a weird one. This here, I have no idea what to say.
If it's actually gamesmanship, if that's what they were going for here, because you're not going to play that card a lot of times. Because you're right, they're probably going to catch some kind of fine for that. If you're pulling that card against the Blazers, that's tough. Doing the gamesmanship thing against that version of the Blazers is I don't know if that the ROI is good there.
Yeah, I'm just confused by the entire situation, and we did not get clear. I mean, I literally asked Doug about it in post game. I followed it up with, is this a one-off or is this something that we're doing moving forward? Is something the Kings are doing, Doug is doing moving forward. And he was very specific, and well, actually, he didn't really answer the question except for to say that Monk is a player that is willing to do whatever it takes for this team to win, and that he's been a great six man, and that Keon's been very, very good in the starting lineup. And he really likes having two defenders in Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis starting. It's something that we've said the entire season. It's something that we said coming into the season that Keon Ellis probably should start. And if Doug has somehow worked this up where he can rewind what Mike Brown did and putting Malik Monk into the starting lineup, it's a pretty big deal.
I'm going to victory lap next. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're hanging out with you until noon. Plenty of Kings Blazers coming up for you. We got some other NBA stuff, including maybe the best ending to an NBA game that you'll see this season. We'll get to that. We had some baseball yesterday with opening day. And at 11 o'clock, Oakland Athletics, Sacramento Athletics first baseman Tyler Soderstrom, who hit 2 homers last night, he's going to join us at 11 o'clock. All that coming up. James Ham's there. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. It's ESPN 1320, and this is Sacramento Sports Leader.
Let's see.
I think I have everything done correctly.
Steven, I don't know what this is related to, but no, like we didn't have it wrong. We put out what the Kings put out as their starting lineup.
Yeah, the Kings had it wrong.
I don't make that graphic. And if I did and everybody else in the media area like copied the same graphic, that would be weird. But yeah. Interesting night. Interesting night. I really wish Joe Brazil was here today.
Same.
Not
I
for
forgot he was out. I had a whole plan to ask him about his experience.
Yeah, I did too.
Not knowing that he had the experience that he had. It's fine. We'll push it to Monday. What? What the hell?
What?
The highlight that I had saved is gone.
Yeah, super confused by the starting lineup situation. Again, if you were going to try to do weird gamesmanship, you probably should have sent out the lineup at 6:30. Like I just was weird. Again, I have no idea. I think I've been part of one other lineup change like that where somebody came out and was announced as a start in the starting lineup and then didn't start. And it was John Wall in his rookie season when he was playing DeMarcus Cousins for the first time, and John Wall hurt his wrist right before the game and couldn't play. And so he was announced as a starter and then like sat there on the bench and they had to switch out for someone else in the starting lineup. Yeah. Paul, it doesn't feel like that. I got to be honest, because Scott Moak, the PA announcer, doesn't mess up who's in the starting lineup because he's a team employee and he gets that information so they can have the track, the video, and everything on the scoreboard set up with the starting lineup because it coincides with when Scott Moak says Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis shows up on the screen up above. That's scripted. It's pre-done. It's not a last second, hey, hit the Keon Ellis button quick. That's who's in the starting lineup. Segway Dustin. Segway Cop Dustin. I don't know what they're doing with the Sac A's patch. I do know I saw the jersey last night where Severino was pitching and it has the Sac Bridge, the Tower Bridge, with a 24 for Ricky Henderson right above it.
Huh. Yeah, it's right up there. Here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, sure as heck is. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. The Kings beat the Blazers 128-107 last night. And I got to tell you, it was as good as the Kings have looked in a month, a few weeks.
I mean, they did have the big win over Cleveland.
Yeah, I guess that was just a couple weeks ago. Last week? A couple weeks ago?
Yeah, but I still feel like
matter.
Just watching them play, this was the most connected I've seen the team. And
it was almost frustrating.
because they don't do it all the time.
Yeah, like where has this been?
Yeah.
That looked like that looked like what we've been talking about when we say, well, if X, Y, and Z happen, then yeah, this can all work. Like DeMar DeRozan, just the primary facilitator? Sure. Zach LaVine, your go-to 1A scorer? Yep. Things running through Domantas Sabonis? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
High intensity on defense for 48 minutes? Wow.
It was really, really strange to watch it play
cool.
out. And even the stats don't back up what we saw. So the Kings, first of all, they shot 64.9% from the field.
Ridiculous.
65% from the field.
Ridiculous.
Like the most ridiculous thing I've seen for, like I don't remember another game where the Kings shot 65%. Maybe there has been a couple of games in the entire time I've covered this team, but not that many.
I'm committed to finding this out right now. I am neck deep in StatHead.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead.
So here's the crazy thing. You shoot 65% from the field, which means that your offense is just rolling. And not only did they only shot 10 of 27 from 3. So it wasn't a whole bunch of 3-point shots. They have 74 shot attempts in this game. That's it, which is wild. They had 14 less shot attempts than the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, then the Portland Trailblazers. But the key thing here, Kyle, they only had 24 assists. If you're going to shoot 65%, and the way we watched the ball hop all over the court, it was so spectacular. The extra pass, everything was beautiful. Somehow you only end up with 24 assists. I don't, again, the mathematics don't work out to me.
Yeah, it didn't look that way for sure. If you'd said how many assists did the Kings have last night, I'd been like 40.
38. Yeah.
3 other times in Kings history have they shot 64.9% or better. The last time it happened, March 20th of 2001.
Okay, yeah, so...
And the other 2 times were in Kansas City.
Yeah, so yeah, I've covered the team for 15 years. It's never happened during my time.
Yeah, shooting 65% in an NBA game is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember them shooting over 60, but there's a big difference between 60 and 65%.
Yeah, absolutely. Man. Yeah, man, it was a really nice reminder, and it's why as down as we've been on the Kings at times. And this is still like, don't get it twisted. One win does not mean, oh my God, hey, could this team make a run? No, I don't think that's in the cards this year. But when you start trying to talk yourself into, all right, can you win a couple of play-in games? Can you make a first round series kind of interesting? It's like that version of the Kings? Yeah, sure. Whether we get that version of the Kings 8 nights out of 10 is still TBD.
Yeah.
But the fact it's there is encouraging. The fact that they went into a game that they needed to get and played that way was encouraging. The fact that after so much was put on the Zach LaVine not shooting, what's wrong with Zach LaVine? Can he and DeMar DeRozan coexist? The fact that they go out and play a game where those 2 players coexist very nicely.
Seamlessly. Yeah.
Okay. That at least makes them interesting here over the next couple of weeks. I don't take back anything I said about wholesale changes that need to happen in the front office. Mm-hmm. I still don't think that this is some version of their roster that's going to work. Every question I had about the Kings remains. But seeing them put together that performance last night in that spot was, if you're talking about culture building, if you're talking about their chances to at least be interesting over the next couple of weeks, you feel really, really good about that.
Yeah, it was super refreshing. And just going through if you look at the box score, first and foremost, the Kings destroyed them points in the paint, 60-32. They destroyed the Blazers on the glass, 46-32. We did talk about it yesterday that the Blazers are a really good offensive rebounding team. And they did out rebound the Kings on the offensive glass 15-9, but the Kings had 37 defensive rebounds. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they dominated. They had more defensive rebounds than the Blazers had total rebounds.
That was Jesus. That's wild. It was really clear. Like, boxing out is one of those little things. It doesn't show up in the box score. You're not going to typically. It was noticeable what the Kings were doing on the defensive glass last night.
Mm-hmm.
DeMar DeRozan mixing it up. Keegan Murray getting bodies on bodies. Domantas Sabonis being a force of nature. It was really clear that they saw the numbers we saw. We went in going, this is a team that plays hard. They're athletic. They all jump out of the gym. You have to play a fundamentally sound game, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
It was if you're going to put a beat down on that Portland team, they did everything they kind of needed to do to do that.
Yeah, the only thing they didn't do is they turned the ball over 20 times, and it was pretty distributed except for Domas having 6.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember Domas having 6 turnovers. Like, I don't know how, again, I'm not sure how they had 20 turnovers and 24 assists. Again, this team, they only shot 74 shots last night and scored 128 points.
That's crazy.
It is wild. And if you look at the shot distribution, this is where I think that the Kings really, really may have stumbled onto something.
Mm-hmm.
You got DeMar DeRozan at 10 field goal attempts. You got Keegan Murray at 11, Domantas Sabonis at 11, Zach LaVine at 18. You've got Keon Ellis at 7, and you got Malik Monk at 9 off the bench. Now, if you could take, like, almost every other game this season is probably around 85, 86 field goal attempts, and you just redistribute those. You give DeMar DeRozan 2 more, you give Keegan Murray 2 more, you give Sabonis 2 more, 18 for LaVine is fine, but 2 more to Ellis and 2 more to Malik Monk. The shot distributions is almost perfect for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, again, watching, it wasn't just that DeMar DeRozan only took 10 shots, because he went 9 of 11 from the free throw line, which means he had 1 and 1, and he had 5 other shots. He had 5 other shot attempts.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, his shot attempts should look more like 15 than it does, 10. But I just thought, like, they looked like a team. And they were so connected, and we just have not seen that at all. It has looked like a collection of dudes on a court.
Yes.
Some of which are playing at breakneck speed, some of which are not playing hard at all. Some that are fully engaged and some that aren't. Lots of standing around and watching. And then all of a sudden, the ball's moving, the players are moving. Everything looks right in the world. And it's for one night against a very marginal team at this point.
Sure.
But still a team that has won at quite a few games and looked really good over the last maybe month and a half. Good win.
Yeah. Really, really, really nice win. I have a fun statistic for you. We mentioned the 64.9% from the field and how many times that's happened in Kings history. 128 points on 74 or fewer field goal attempts. That has only happened now 27 times in NBA history.
Wow.
And the Kings did it last night. The Kings have done it 3 times as an organization. Do you know when the last time they did it was?
Nope.
April 21st of 2021. Allow me to tell you who the starting lineup was for the Kings.
April 21st, 2021. Okay, that's pandemic?
No. That's year after pandemic.
But it's still the 72 game season?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, this is, all right, De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Mo Harkless, and Hassan Whiteside.
Oh my gosh.
That was the starting 5 the last time the Kings did a thing that's only happened 27 times in NBA history.
That's crazy.
Dog, what?
Well, it makes sense that they only shot that many times because Mo Harkless was in the starting lineup.
He went 3 of 4 from the field, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield, 7 of 11 from 3, 11 of 16 from the field for Buddy in that game. Cooking. 29 points. De'Aaron had 30. De'Aaron went to the free throw line
just back it up.
14 times.
Read me that stat line again.
Buddies?
Yeah.
11 of 16 from the field.
Okay.
7 of 11 from 3.
Okay. 29 points.
29 points, 6 boards, 5 assists.
It just really sounded very similar to what Zach LaVine did last night.
What was LaVine's? 13 of 18?
Yeah, he was 13 of 18, 2 of 5 from 3, and he had 29 points.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, there is a way that this team to distribute the shot attempts like this, to have it be like, again, I have no problems at all with Zach LaVine taking 18 shots. He should take 18 shots every game, but to have him go 13 of 18, I know he was asked in post game if he should have shot more threes. He's like, bro, we shot like 65% from the field and won by 20. No,
Yeah,
I'm perfectly fine with my shot attempts.
Yeah, and that's where, if because we've been talking about the Kings need to shoot more threes, they need to shoot more threes. What'd they get up last night? 27? Yeah, they only got up 27. But if you're going to the rack and you're scoring at the rate you were scoring, would they have 60 points in the paint last night?
Yeah, 60.
If you're
Dominant.
if you're scoring 60 in the paint, then yeah, maybe you don't need to put up as many threes. Yeah, I think those in a game like last night, I'm far less concerned about didn't get enough threes up.
Yeah.
You're not gonna score 60 in the paint every night, and you're gonna have to get more threes up if you want to win play-in games and be competitive in the postseason. But they found something we talked yesterday, like exploiting mismatches. They found something that was working, and they just kept hammering it.
Yeah, I mean, like to perfection. And I think long term, like you looked at the Blazers, all of a sudden looked again like that super young team that they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't have Jeremy Grant, they didn't have DeAndre Ayton, they didn't have some of their veteran players, but overall, they had enough juice. They had enough players to actually compete, at least the way that they have since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And you were just able to put a stamp on it. You know, the Kings on the season averaged 90.2 field goal attempts per game.
Man,
that's a lot of field goal attempts that were left on the table last night. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, again, like the Kings just played extremely well and everybody played well and everybody shared the ball and there was always an extra pass.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like the most eye-catching thing. It's like, oh, that's a good shot. Nope, that's a better shot. Oh, hit it.
It was also you mentioned the turnovers. I think a lot of those were from overpassing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that's gonna happen sometimes. But I thought last night was about as encouraged as I've been in. I mean the win over the Cavs was really nice, but just the fact that they didn't let Portland hang around. Portland didn't win a quarter. You win the first quarter by 9. You're up 18 at the end of the first half, and then there was no letting off the gas. And that was, if you're looking for tangible progress, like that's something that we just watched them against Chicago, and Chicago's been playing better lately, but we watched them blow a 19-point lead against Chicago. And so for them to come out and turn an 18-point halftime lead into a 21-point win, like great. I'm looking for improvements from Doug Christie and the coaching staff. I'm looking for improvements from Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis and individuals. I don't know, man. They beat the hell out of the Blazers.
They did. They did. And I think it's interesting. The Keegan Murray thing goes 7-11 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. Since his brother got into the league, he has played so poorly against Portland. Every time he plays against Portland, whether his brother's on the court or not, he has been absolutely atrocious. So this season against Portland, he came in shooting, well, I think this is after last night's. Yeah, it is after last night's game.
Okay.
On the season, he's shooting 38.5% and 26.3% from 3 against Portland. And that's after last night's 7 of 11 performance. The year before, I believe, was even worse.
Yikes.
Chris's rookie season against Portland, against Keegan shot 25% from the field and 20% from 3, and that's in 3 starts.
Yikes.
He played 94
That's so
minutes.
Weird.
Yeah, he just really struggled when and I know it's more than just his brother because his parents fly in for those games. So Kenyon Murray was there last night and he was there to watch them. Yeah. Maybe that's part of it, just like the overall, like everyone's there and he's distracted a little bit, but that is not the player we saw last night. He came out in the first quarter, was so aggressive and so dominant. Then he went dormant for like 2.5 quarters.
As he is wont to do.
Exactly. And then he pops back up in the fourth quarter and like, boom, finishes the game off. You're like, that right there was a quality performance by Keegan Murray.
The flashes of aggressiveness seem to be coming more frequently.
Yes.
where it's not one quarter every few games. It's a couple times a game. There's a stretch where Keegan Murray just kind of owns that stretch of game. And if we're taking things away from the end of this year, whatever it turns out to be, if we're taking things away from the end of this year, that's the thing I'm watching closest. Because Keegan Murray, since March 1, that's 15 games, is averaging 14 points, 6 boards, 1.5 assists on 47.1% from the field and 40% from three. In his last 8 games, he scored double figures in each game. It's his longest stretch of games this year, scoring double figures. 15.5 points, 7.1 boards, 1.5 assists, 49.5% from the field, 44.1% from three. And like I said, and then there's just the visual. There's the eye test of when you're watching a Kings game. There's going to be a stretch at some point where Keegan Murray grabs a big rebound, hits a couple of threes, gets to the rack, throws down a dunk, and you go, "Oh, there's Keegan." Is it as consistently as we might like? No, probably not. Like you said, he was really good in the first and then didn't show up again until what, like late third quarter?
Yeah, late
Sometime in
third
the
or
fourth?
early fourth. Yeah.
Late in the game. It's, oh, hey, there, look, Keegan's back.
He didn't take a shot in the third quarter.
Okay. So
in
fourth.
7 minutes.
Okay.
And I believe he took in the second quarter, he took 1 shot in the second quarter. He went 5 of 6 in the first, 4 or 5 in the first quarter, I believe, and then 4 of 6 for the half. Didn't take another shot until the fourth quarter, and then the fourth quarter he wakes up and you're like, hey, there he is again.
Right.
You know? So he goes 3 of 5, hits a 3, scores 8 points in the fourth.
Yeah. We'll keep diving into the Keegan Murray stuff. We had maybe the best ending to an NBA game all season last night. I would like to go over that with you next. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320. It is Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear.
What's going on, Chatty House? Boombox Benny, we don't know why Taylor Jenkins got fired outside of the fact that they haven't played well since the All-Star break. They're like 8-11 since the All-Star break, and they can't beat good teams. Adrian Sanchez, that's just a strange question. How tall am I? I'm 5'11" without shoes on. 6 foot. Miss Mac, I don't know where he's gonna end up next. It's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. Like I think, again, if the Kings don't retain Doug Christie, there's always a possibility of him landing here. But I think we're gonna want to know, like the Paul Harvey, the rest of the story before you make a judgment on that. This was very, very disappointing, Wheezy. The relievers giving up home runs late. Because I thought Severino was incredible.
Really good.
Bartcat 69, what is my favorite soup? I don't know. I make a really, really good chicken.
Your
chicken
own soup is your favorite soup?
It might be.
Wow.
It's a good soup. Maybe I'll bring it in for you one day, Kyle.
The chicken tortilla soup from Chapala in Brentwood.
The old chicken tortilla soup from El Torito was bomb. I really like clam chowder. I don't know.
A good clam chowder rocks.
Yeah. Derek Too Shifty, I don't think they know what Devin Carter is yet, and I do not believe they believe he's a starting point guard in the NBA.
Perfect.
It's funny. I may have brought up Paul Harvey in a text earlier this morning, and that's why it was in my head. Kyle probably doesn't know who Paul Harvey is.
No.
Actually, you would appreciate him. He would do storytelling about like an event that everyone knows about, but then he would tell the rest of the story, like because there's always more to every story that we know, and he would explain, and it was always Paul Harvey, the rest of the story.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I do like French onion soup, Adam L.
Love a French onion soup.
I don't think Paul Harvey's still alive. I mean, maybe. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm going to guess he's been gone. He died in 2009 at the age of 91, I believe. 90. Now you know the rest of the story. Yeah, you like the El Torito pool? Yeah. That was some really good tortilla soup.
Here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, tough season opener for the A's last night.
Yeah.
Fell 4-2 to the Seattle Mariners in about 15 minutes. A's first baseman Tyler Soderstrom, who hit 2 home runs last night, puts him on pace for 324 homers.
Something like that. Yeah. Quick math.
See if he can get there. It would be a record.
It would. He would be the all-time leading home run individual season home run record king.
I don't know if you caught the end of this Bulls-Lakers game, but the Bulls were down 18 in the fourth quarter.
Oh.
And we're going to pick up the action here. This is courtesy of CHSN, and it's Adam Amin with Stacey King on the call. I need you specifically to listen for Stacey King during this call. But again, the Bulls have erased an 18-point deficit. They lead 116 to 115 with 6.1 seconds left. And that's where we will pick up the action.
Doncic took the final shot before that. Here's Reeves. Reeves straight to the top. Plays it in to take the lead. Bulls are out of timeouts. 2 seconds left. Giddy for the win.
Oh my God! I cannot believe this. Elizabeth, I'm coming, baby. Oh, no. Improbable.
Watch this guy. Watch this guy. This is great right here.
Magic Giddy. Good day, mate. Somewhere in Australia, Sydney, or Melbourne, Paul Hogan is somewhere. Crocodile Dundee. Oh, Lord.
Doncic took the
Stacey
final.
King just losing his mind.
Stacey King completely lost his mind.
It's incredible. Josh Giddey, take a 40-footer for the win. That was amazing.
I thought Stacey King would be a Sacramento King back in the 1989 NBA draft.
Oh,
The Kings had the first overall pick, and there was no consensus #1 overall pick.
the worst.
And it was between guys like Stacey King and Purvis Ellison. The Kings didn't even visit Purvis Ellison. They just drafted him with sight unseen.
Perfect.
And when they got him in the building, realized that he really didn't much care to play basketball. He just happened to be a tall guy who was talented, and that wasn't really his jam. But yeah, interesting stuff.
It's so funny because you see this a lot, like during the NFL draft process. There are, and I imagine it's the same in the NBA. Like so much of the draft process, we as a media just and fan group, like we're looking at film, we're looking at athletic scores, we're looking at all these different kind of things. When in reality, like the gap between most of the prospects is not like there's tiers and there's definitely like the number like Abdul Carter, the consensus top defensive end and the worst defensive end. Like there's a pretty steep gap there, but like for the most part, the gap between the players is not, from a talent perspective, is not that wide.
Yeah.
It's just what you said. It's like, does this guy want to play? Or was this person just a freak athlete who was able to get some NIL money or get school paid for because they were awesome at this sport, but they want to go do something else with their life? They want to be a doctor, or they want to be in television, or whatever it is. And I think so much of the draft process for the teams is less about the film and the athletic scores and more trying to talk to the guys and figure out like, hey, do you like playing this sport or not? Do you want to do this for a living or no?
Well, I think that's when you hear these weird stories about people asking like strange interview questions and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to really, as somebody who's sitting across from somebody, to look into the soul of a player and say, do they have that certain something that elevates them above everything else? Like, again, I think we all believe that Keegan Murray is going to be an excellent NBA basketball player for 12, 15 years in the league, right? Like he is a very, very good basketball player. But you don't know about the mental aspect of the game, and can he take this gigantic step to not just be more consistent, but also like more selfish and these other things that are sometimes it's just outside of who they are.
Sure.
And also sometimes like to compare Keegan to somebody like Cam Johnson, like it's taking Cam Johnson until he's like 29 to actually be the player everyone thought he would be at 23.
Right.
And so now you get this player, you're like, hey, look at that. He's averaging 19 points a game. Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it was always there. Number one, the opportunity might not have been there, but also opportunity in this situation. It's same with Keegan. Opportunity to start, that's one thing. Opportunity to play 30 minutes a game, but opportunity to say, I'm the guy who's going to take 15 shots tonight. Sometimes a player doesn't have that in him to be forceful in that one way.
Unless it's spoon-fed to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And at some point in their career, they become more confident as a person and more like secure in who they are on the court and everything else. And they can take another logical step.
That's one of the residual reasons, not residual, like peripheral reasons why I've been, and I think so many others have been on the start Keon Ellis train, because that opens shots for Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
This player that is part of their core going forward, at least presumably. And when when Malik Monk and Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are trying to figure out amongst themselves who's orchestrating this, who's taking the shots, what are we doing here? And you've got Keegan Murray just hanging out. Like that's why, and I don't think it's a coincidence when Keon Ellis starts that, oh, hey, look, we've seen a more aggressive Keegan Murray lately.
Yeah,
Malik Monk's been out and Keegan super aggressive. Malik Monk coming off the bench. Wow, look, Keegan Murray super aggressive in the first quarter. Weird.
It's really difficult for a young player to look around the court and go, okay, Malik Monk is one of the noisiest players. I mean, he's the noisiest player in Sacramento, but he might be the noisiest player that I've seen in Sacramento for a long time.
He does not ever stop talking.
Yeah, there's like Iman Shumpert was that way, but there haven't been a lot of like the noisy guys. And that for Keegan is an energy drain. Like, but you look next to you and you got Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis is an all NBA player and Keegan knows that. And then you look over and there's DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's a Hall of Famer. You had De'Aaron Fox, who's your buddy, but also who's an all-star and who averages 26 a game. And then now you've got Zach LaVine. So I think it's really difficult for a young player to feel like he has I don't know, like it's his right to take 15 or 20 shots.
Yeah.
You're just not going to feel that way unless you come into the league with that kind of moxie. And that's what separates the great scorers is that they just walk in the league and say, no, I'm doing this. I don't care who's on my team. Get out of the way.
Right.
And that's never going to be Keegan, but that doesn't mean that he can't average 20 a game as a guy that like takes on bigger and bigger roles every year.
Yeah.
And then it's on the team to make sure that the roster is built so he can be that player. And it hasn't been that way yet. And you hope that that he will be able to take that next logical step.
At some point, and I know that Cam Johnson has kind of he's a direct argument against what I'm about to say. But I feel like for a lot of guys, at some point, you just kind of are who you are in the league. And with Keegan at 25 years old, you're running up really close to that. And that's why when we talk, what does this look like going forward and beyond this year, I think you really have to take that into consideration. Is this going to be just strictly a 3-and-D guy? Or is this going to be a really good defender who's also going to score 20 points a night? Is this going to be one of your primary offensive players where he's creating for himself a little bit? Because we see that. Like, the problem with Keegan to me is not, I shouldn't say the problem. Whatever. The problem with Keegan for me is not the skill set. It's not, hey, can he dribble? Like, yeah, he's not Allen Iverson, but he can put the ball on the deck and drive, especially, attacking closeouts. We've seen how good he is down in the post, getting to his mid-range. Like, he can get to his spots. He can create for himself a little. The problem is not the skill set. The problem is that it's all right, hey, this is not going to be Anthony Edwards. This is not a person who's going to look Barack Obama in the face and go, nah, I'm nice as hell. Like, don't let them, I don't know what they're talking about. Like, he's not going to be that. He's not, people go, he needs to just go take his shots. He's not going to. He's not. He's never going to be that person. Because now we're talking off the court. Now we're getting away from what's he doing between the lines. Now we're getting into what's his personality, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he's just never going to be that guy who's like, I don't care who's on my team. There's no amount of player development that's going to make him that person. And he's going to need to be spoon-fed these opportunities a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a point where he's going to get more and more and more confident as he goes on in his career, and where he's allowed to flourish a little bit more, depending on where he's at, like depending on who's around him and all that stuff. But I also think that there needs to be like a major determination and a major understanding that there's a difference between being a top 3 scorer on a team and being a top 3 most important person on a team, most important player on a team. And for me, it's Domas, it's probably Malik, and the next one is Keegan Murray. I don't think that we talk about it with the 49ers, like how valuable Trent Williams is. Like, he might not be the best player on the team. He might be, but there's also, like, without a player like that, everything else falls apart. And that's who Keegan is for this team. And you just hope that he gets better and better and better at the comfortability point where he's okay becoming more and more to a team. And I think he is getting there. I just think you keep mixing things up for him, and that's not what's best for like an introverted person to keep switching everything and the players around you and everything else. He doesn't feel comfortable.
Sure.
And that's understandable.
All right. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are the Insiders. We got plenty more Kings coming up. Really nice win over the Blazers last night. What does that mean for Sacramento? We'll look at the standings. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little baseball with A's first baseman Tyler Soderstrom. He hit 2 home runs for them last night in their loss to the Seattle Mariners. He's going to join us next before we get back into some Sacramento Kings. So that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center. Clear.
Oh, we do have Jesse. Oh, good. That lady just won $43,212 on The Price is Right. Wow. Slam Magazine, Slam Online has an incredible picture of Jabari Parker defending Nikola Mirotic in a EuroLeague game. Jabari.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Nikola Mirotic. It's a name I haven't heard in forever. Isn't Keegan turning 25? Did I have his age wrong?
He's 24. He is turning 25
in
before next
August.
season.
Okay.
I don't know if Jabari said that Euroball is better than NBA.
Probably for him.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, I don't know why The Price is Right is on. It's just, it is here in the studio. We don't mess with the remote because the remote's broken and you have to keep plugging in and unplugging it. It's silly. NBA Guru Zach, you asked this question the other day. If was Fox's value during the Tyrese trade higher or lower than the value that they got for him last month? There's no way his value is higher in 2022. I got to be honest. Like there was an option there for, it to be Fox that was traded for Sabonis and not Halliburton. And because of his contract, because of everything else, he was not, coming off a very, like, a spectacular season. His value, I believe, is higher today than it was then. Oh, you're starting that. Okay. Actually, I started some stuff earlier. Let me see. Casey, I totally agree with this. The maximized version of the roster. They have to show that they can do that against better teams. But yeah. And the turnovers, yeah, were what they were.
Here we go. Hour number 2, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're hanging out with you until noon. We'll hand it off to D-Lo and Casey, and they will take you up to 4 o'clock right here on Sacramento Sports Leader. Talking about the Kings' win over the Blazers last night. We're going to put a pin in that for a minute, though, to talk a little bit of baseball. The A's could not pull out a win up in Seattle last night. They fell to the Mariners 4-2 at T-Mobile Park. Those 2 runs came courtesy of our guest, Tyler Soderstrom, A's first baseman. Tyler, thanks so much for jumping on, man. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. When did hitting Major League pitching become so easy?
I don't know about that, but last night was a fun one for sure.
Yeah, Tyler, when you make the big league club out of camp and you're given that opportunity as an opening day starter, just how much was out of the juice flowing last night? Just how excited were you to get that opportunity and to come up so big with those 2 shots?
Yeah, obviously was my first opening day nod, first opening day start, so I was super obviously jacked up and pumped up to be out there. It was a great crowd in Seattle. We didn't get the win, but it was a great first opening day for sure.
Do you feel going into a game, as we talk to today's first baseman Tyler Soderstrom here, do you feel going into a game or maybe like a particular pitching matchup Not that you think you're gonna go into a game and necessarily hit 2 home runs, but do you feel like locked in a certain way sometimes? Like, do you feel going into a game like I'm in the zone, I'm dialed today?
I don't think you ever necessarily think that going into any particular game. I mean, everyone, in a big league pitching staff, is always pretty good. So, I mean, you always got to be locked in, during every at bat, whether it's in the first or ninth inning. So I think I was just trying to go up there with a good mindset, trying to put good swings on it, see the pitch in the zone, and it ended up working out. So I think you just got to keep it pretty simple up there for sure.
Tyler, you're making the transition from catcher to first base, and you not only did you hit the 2 knocks last night, but you also had that incredible play in the field. And just how difficult has that transition been? How much do you enjoy playing first base as opposed to sitting back behind the plate and squatting and getting your legs all tightened up and slowing you down everywhere else? Just how cool has that transition been for you?
Yeah, I feel like I've been a pretty versatile player kind of my whole career growing up. As a baseball player, I played multiple positions growing up. So, it's nothing new to me. I've been in that situation before. Obviously getting into pro ball, most of it was kind of early on, was definitely a lot of catching. I definitely played a little bit of first here and there. But yeah, I think the transition's been good. I feel like my athleticism can really, take me to where I want to be at any position. So I think the reps I've been putting in with Emart, our infield guy, has been good, and just continuing to learn the small things that first base has to offer. So it's been good.
Is first baseman Tyler Soderstrom joining us now here on ESPN 1320. Tyler, I have a 2-part question for you. Are you superstitious at all?
Not really. I went and got a coffee and a breakfast burrito at the hotel breakfast place yesterday, so I went and actually did the same thing today. So I guess you could say a little bit, but I don't have any really superstitions out of that.
If I tell you a statistic that I found, it's not going to bother you?
No.
Okay, great. Are you aware that you've never played in a game in Seattle where you didn't have a hit?
Nope, I'm not aware of that.
Well, guess what? That's a fact. So, no, but I do wonder, is there something with that ballpark? Is it just a favorable matchup, you think? Is it just kind of happenstance that it happened that way?
I don't know. I feel like the Seattle pitching staff's usually pretty solid all around, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing in particular that stands out. I guess I just kind of they got good pitching, so you gotta really stay dialed in at the plate.
Just raking in Seattle. Nice.
Yeah, Tyler, you are a local kid. You grew up in Turlock, and like I have, my grandparents growing up lived in Modesto. I had a great uncle in Keys. Like I know the area pretty well. Just how cool is it for you to be able to make it up to the bigs in sort of your home area, whether it was Oakland last year or now Sacramento this season?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I ask myself the same question. Sometimes it doesn't really feel real. I got to kind of take a step back and really think about it. But yeah, it's awesome to make it up to the big leagues. I was in Oakland, which is close to home, and now Sacramento, which is considered the Central Valley. So it's awesome. I try and do the best I can to kind of be a role model for guys in my city of Turlock, and I think it's pretty special that I get this opportunity, and I'm really thankful for it for sure.
Do you expect to have a lot of people in the building next Monday when you open at home here against the Cubs?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have a good support system for sure, root me on. I know friends, family will be there for sure. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm also just looking forward, to see the fans in Sacramento come out and support too. So that's going to be awesome as well.
Tyler, that's something I wanted to ask you. Like when you walk into that building, I'm sure you've played there before in your minor league experience, but what are you expecting? I know that they've made changes and all that stuff, but as someone who has covered the Sacramento Kings for a long time, I know how crazy Sacramento fans are, how passionate they are, and it's going to be a really intimate setting, but also I think that passion will come through when you guys are on the field.
Yeah, we've got a little sneak peek of what they've done. They've done a super, really, really good job with kind of the scenario that they were handed. like you said too, I've had some experience at Sutter Health Park and in AAA. So I mean, there's some familiarity there for sure. And like you said too, like the Kings fans, I got to go to a Kings game the other night before we got to Seattle, and it was a great environment, and I think they do it really well. So we're definitely excited and ready to get to Sacramento for sure.
Tyler, really appreciate your time, man. Great work last night, and looking forward to watching you this season.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Tyler. Take care, bud. Tyler Soderstrom, a couple home runs last night, because apparently hitting Major League Baseball is easy.
He's got such a sweet swing.
He does.
Like, you're just waiting for him for it to click at the Major League level.
Yeah.
And, again, I don't know if he's going to hit 25 homers. He's going to hit 30 homers. What do you have last year? Like 11. But just, you can see the outline of, he had 9 home runs last year. You can see the outline of what could be an incredible player.
Yeah.
And I think for one day in his career, he can now say he leads Major League Baseball in home runs.
Yeah.
Like, great point. Something that you or I can never say.
That's facts.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of games for the A's that go like last night did, where you get a really quality start from your starter.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody hits a couple of home runs, and then they lose because their bullpen can't get enough outs.
I hope that that's not the case. I hope that they've put enough money and energy into finding the right arms in a bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the A's, throughout their history, have always been good at finding just a random guy at the AAA level or the AA level that they can bring up that does something specific that helps their bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
They have created quite a few relievers, really good relievers. I would hate to see their season be derailed completely by a bad bullpen.
Yeah.
That would just be tough.
The bullpen last night, 2 innings, 2 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 3 walks, and a strikeout.
Oh.
And Jose Leclerc, the guy who gave up the home runs, he's been up and down in his career. We've seen him be a really good reliever at times for the Rangers. This is his first year with the A's. We've seen him be a really good reliever at times, and we've seen him have some ups and downs. Obviously not the way he wanted to start this season, giving up the 2 homers last night. But that's my greatest concern with the A's.
Yeah, the bullpen.
Yeah. And just overall, like I think if you're expecting a team that, and this was really the case last year, I compared them to a slow pitch softball team.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are 3 true outcomes. They are walk, home run, strikeout. And so you're going to get a lot of games where maybe a couple solo homers, and then you're going to get a lot of games like this from Brent Rooker where he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah, I did not think that they were seeing the ball well last night. Like,
Logan Gilbert's a good player.
Yeah, there was a lot of strikeouts in that game. I don't know what the box score, like how many times they struck out as a team, but it felt like, because we were watching
10.
the game.
Logan Gilbert had 8.
Yeah,
7 innings.
I think like watching that whole game play out last night, it was like, okay, this is who they are for right now. But I also love that, they had that incredible double play turned by 2 super young players in Jacob Wilson and Max Muncy. Soderstrom's at first base with a nice stretch to get and it just shows you like the youth of this team with Lawrence Butler in the outfield. I mean, they've got 5 or 6 guys that are first, second year players in Major League Baseball, and the talent is just, they have a ton of it, and it's here and it's on the field already.
Sure.
And that's even with Zach Geloff, not available to start the season. But yeah, a bunch of young players that, if they can keep this core together, they do have the potential to be something special.
Yeah, just 3 hits last night. They allowed 5, of course, the 2 big home runs. The Randy Arozarena bat spike after his game tying homer was just electric. It's pure electricity from Randy Arozarena. Yeah, good game up in Seattle. Looking forward to tonight's contest. Luis Severino, though, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs. He did walk 4, but he struck out 6. You'll take that every time if you're the A's.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of exciting games, the Giants, they beat the Reds in their season opener 6-4. San Francisco trailed 3-2 going into the 9th. They get a walk from Jung-Hoo Lee. They get a single from Matt Chapman. Then with 2 outs, Patrick Bailey comes up. He ties the game with a single. Wilmer Flores comes up, hits a 3-run homer to give the Giants a lead, and they walk out of Cincinnati with a 6-4 victory on opening day. Trying to keep pace with the Dodgers, who are going to win 140 freaking games.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Good start for the
Everybody,
Giants, though, man.
yeah, it's gonna be very difficult. We do have some small breaking news.
Ooh.
The Memphis Grizzlies are naming assistant Tomas Lisalo
Careful.
as I think that's what the name is, as the interim head coach.
Sure.
He is a native of Finland.
Shout out.
And he was a coach of the Paris basketball in 2024, winning the Euro Cup and Euro Cup Coach of the Year.
You said he's from Finland?
Yeah.
So he's going to finish this season as the Grizzlies head coach?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, come on, air horns. Where we at?
He's also a ginger, so shout out to gingers. And then the Bovado official has put out their odds right now for where Taylor Jenkins will land next. The Philadelphia 76ers are a plus 400. The Chicago Bulls are a plus 500. The San Antonio Spurs are a plus 700. The Sacramento Kings are a plus 900 to add Taylor Jenkins. Interesting stuff. Also have the Suns, the Miami Heat for some reason, because I don't, where's Spoelstra going?
In case Eric Spoelstra retires?
In case he just doesn't want to do this anymore.
He quits?
And then, of course, the Pelicans are on that list as well. I'm confused by the 76ers as well, because Nick Nurse has been there, 2 years, and it's been rough, but
they want to just scrap it?
I guess.
That seems like a bad team, stay bad type of move. I don't
Yeah.
look at the Sixers and go, coaching change.
Yeah, I mean, that would open the door for some interesting stuff that could possibly happen there with, Bobby Jackson being a lead assistant there.
Sure.
One of the lead assistants, Brian Gates, being one of the lead assistants, multi-time assistant coach in Sacramento, Brian Gates, one of the all-time good dudes. So, like, if you're building a coaching staff in Sacramento and, if Doug Christie does get the job, it would be good to see some familiar faces.
I think if the Kings continue playing the way they played last night, I think you're going to see Doug Christie get the job. And maybe he's already locked it up. Maybe they're already impressed enough with what Doug Christie has done. Hey, before we get the break, I got to get to our guy, Mitch. Mitch in New Jersey, what's going on?
What's cracking?
Nope.
Hey, dude,
Sorry, Mitch.
Whoa.
Try again later.
Yeah, Mitch, your phone was not good at all. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, no. Call back though, Mitch, and we'll get to you. That was just not a great connection to start. But I'm sure Mitch will call back because that's what he does. Salute.
I hope so.
If you would like to join the show on the Elk Grove Kia Talk line, please do. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders, and we're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We'll get back into the Kings next. They got a big win last night. A win made even bigger by what else happened on the scoreboard. We'll tell you what that is next on the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320. It's Sacramento Sports Center.
Boy, I feel like I'm butchering this name, but it's Tomas. It might be Salo. Man, I don't know. Was he on their staff before?
Eric Spoelstra has been the Heat head coach for just like, in my head, I know this is not the case, but in my brain, when I see Eric Spoelstra, I'm like, oh yeah, he's been their coach since like 2017. And it's actually like 2010. He's been there for so long.
Oh, yeah. Spoelstra?
Yeah. 2009? Is that right?
The 08-09 season.
Golly, dude.
Yeah. I mean, Spoelstra, like,
what a freaking gangster.
782 career wins, and he's 54.
He's finished below 500 thrice.
That's crazy.
And I'm assuming they're going to do so again this year, which is the third time.
17 seasons as a head coach of the Miami Heat. 579 win percentage. Although they're not good this year. They have a 438 right now.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler kind of torpedoed that.
Yeah, I mean, he's won 2 NBA championships. He's been Eastern Conference champs 1, 2, 3,
times.
4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah, 6 because the 2 years they went to.
Yeah, that's crazy. 110-79 career playoff record, a 582 win percentage.
That is bananas.
Especially when you consider the 2022-23 season when they made it, they were the Eastern Conference champs. They were the 8th seed in the playoffs.
Man.
Oh,
Pat Riley went 44-38 in 06-07, and then the next year they went 15-67.
ooh.
Oh my God. Joel Anthony, Marcus Banks, Earl Barron, Ricky Davis, Penny Hardaway, a young Udonis Haslem,
Marcus Banks,
Bobby Jones, Sean Marion, Alonzo Mourning, and Shaq, who were combined 70-something years old at that point. Smush Parker.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Chris Quinn. He's their lead assistant now. Jason Williams was on that team. Darrell Wright. We got to do the giveaway here. You know, let me forget that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the rumors that Eric Spoelstra's wife is... There are rumors that she's dating Jaime Jaquez.
This Odyssey Sports promo said if you had a time machine and you could rewind to watch anything that's happened in history, what would you do? And one of the things was watch the pyramids get built.
Oh,
that's what I would do. I want to watch the aliens do it.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
The 2007-2008 Miami Heat were not good. FYI.
No.
There's some names on this roster, bro. Why were we talking about Eric Spoelstra? Oh, because the Heat were in the odds for Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah, like somehow the Heat are part of the odds for landing Taylor Jenkins as a next head coach.
That's right. All right. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. If you'd like to join the show via the Elk Grove Kia talk line, we would love to have you. Okay, some housekeeping. We had A's first baseman Tyler Soderstrom on the program earlier. Coming up at 2:30 with D'Lo and KC, new Sacramento State head men's basketball coach, Mike Bibby.
Nice.
Can't wait for that. Mike Bibby will be joining D'Lo and KC 2:30 p.m. right here on ESPN 1320. That'll be a ton of fun. We also have stuff to give away. I don't know if you guys noticed the sweet hoodie that James is wearing. We're giving that hoodie away along with a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate. You enter to win at ESPN1320.com. It's this easy. You find the contest page. It's front and center. You can't miss it. You click on that contest page, and you're going to, what's our keyword?
What was our team word?
I've got it. We've got it was yours, so that's what I was pitching.
It was
it's fine. I'll do the thing.
It was team. There it is.
There you go. All right. Team. TEAM, because the Kings played like a team last night. TEAM. Enter that code word at ESPN1320.com for your chance to win a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate and the sweet exclusive to this giveaway Insiders hoodie that you see James Ham wearing on our YouTube and Twitch channels right now. Let's jump over to the Elk Grove Kia talk line. No call screener again. So just we're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way here. Let's go to Don. Don, you're on the Elk Grove Kid Talk Line. What's up?
What up, fellas? I miss being Don.
Shout out. Big E?
Yeah, you got it. You got
My
it.
man. What do we got?
Fantastic game. I was out at the bar with my day one, just having a good time with the boys.
Salute.
And I got the first quarter update. Yeah, I was watching some college basketball at the bar, but I was keeping updates on my ESPN app. And I got all sad because I wasn't really paying attention. I got there at the end of the first quarter. I see the update, and I read it like Kings trailing the Blazers. And I got like really down. And then I read again, and I was as static as can be, looking that they're blowing out the team already. And just this fun, toxic relationship I have with the team can really swing my emotions. But I love to see them, and I hope they keep the momentum going forward.
Thanks, Biggie. Appreciate the call. Yeah, man.
I think it's funny because it was probably the Kings Trailblazers.
Nice, James. That's a good one.
Trailblazers.
Nice. Good
Yes.
work.
Yes.
Um,
They didn't trail the Blazers. They were up on the Trailblazers.
they did. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for the moment last night where, like the Bulls game, the end of that second quarter against the Bulls, it was this collective, like this is gonna be uncomfortable. And that moment never happened last night.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we have had so many of those moments this year where you feel the momentum slip away.
Mhm.
And once the momentum's gone, you can kind of see that this team doesn't have like that second push to get themselves back into a game.
Mhm.
And the best way to avoid that is to just not have the let go of the rope moment where you let a team back in.
Mhm.
But I would like to see them develop something more sustainable. Like last night's win, like you can't blow it up too big because it was against a team that's not very good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that they were playing, but I will tell you, Portland thought that was a big game. Like they believed it was a big game. Like I saw
They were trying to make the play-in.
Yeah.
It was a huge game for them.
Yeah, I saw assistant general manager Mike Schmitz last night, and had a conversation with him before the game. They felt like this is a big game. So for the Kings to come out there and kind of, put out the torch of a team and just kind of send them away, because that in the standings, that's going to be what's so huge. That was just absolutely
enormous,
like tremendous to push a team away like that.
Well, we talked about just the vibe of it, right? Like, man, you lose tonight, you're losing to Portland, you're losing a fifth game in a row, you're finishing your homestand 2-5, and now you're going to go on the road for a 6-game road trip with a 5-game losing streak, and you can't even beat the Blazers.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
But then you look at the standings and you see that the Dallas Mavericks beat the Kings' next opponent, the Orlando Magic, 101-92. That moves them to 35-38. If the Kings lose last night, is that 35? I think
they would have dropped to 11th.
Yes, I have the numbers wrong, but yes, they would have dropped to 11 if they lost last night.
Yeah.
Like that's just a massive, massive win from the standpoint of, the Suns are 35-38. I had that backwards. My bad.
Yeah.
We're good though. We're back.
Kings are 36-37, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Mavericks are 36-38. The Suns are 35-38. Okay. I just had that written down back.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
fine.
At this point, the Kings are a half game ahead of the Dallas Mavericks, and the Suns are back out of the playoff picture.
Mhm.
And with that loss last night, now you're looking, if you're the Blazers, you're 4 games out of the play-in.
Yeah, they're
tournament.
toast. They're done.
Yeah.
They're all the way done.
With 9 games left or whatever it is.
Yeah.
8. They have 8 games left.
Real quick on the Mavericks, shout out to Jason Kidd. We've talked a lot about the turmoil that Doug Christie has had to deal with coming in as an interim coach and just the mess that has taken place.
Mhm.
The De'Aaron Fox trade, Luke Laux leaving, Wes Wilcox leaving, the ups and downs, the injuries, the losing, the winning. Jason Kidd, when you look at the Luka trade, all the fallout from the Luka trade, the rash of injuries that they suffered over the course of, the season, to get Anthony Davis in the building and then lose Anthony Davis in the same game that he's debuting. To have them at 36 and 38 and in the number 10 seed is a super impressive ass coaching job.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like when they weren't like lighting the world on fire before that. So I agree with you that like to be, I don't know, what is it, 10 and 10 or whatever around that since the Luka trade. Like this wasn't a good team before that. They're right around 500. So I think he's done a remarkable job to like not have the wheels completely fall off. We've talked about how they went through a handful of games where they had like 8 players healthy.
Yeah.
And then there was a game where they got all the way down to 5 players inside the game.
Yes.
And like if they had one more injury or a guy fouled out, they would have had to play with 4.
Yeah.
Like absolutely wild. So
yeah, they were at one point 31 and 26. Another 36 and 38. But like you said, the fact, and they did plenty of losing in there, obviously. This is not a, hey, Jason Kidd's the coach of the year. But the fact that they have won 3 of their last 4, they're winning, they're beating Detroit, then they're going on the road to Brooklyn and winning. They lost to the Knicks the next night on the second night of a back-to-back, but then they go to Orlando. They win that game last night, and they're very clearly fighting for the number 10 seed. Shout out, man. I thought they were cooked, like all the way.
I also like shout out to Kessler Edwards, who's carved out a niche and like just really played well. I think he might be out of 2-way like contract days. So I'm not sure that he gets to. Yeah, I don't think he can play anymore.
Okay.
But like just he's been really good for them. I at least gave them a shot. And on the season,
been productive.
I mean, he's shooting 40.7% from 3 on the season. Talk about, here's a crazy stat. Kessler Edwards is shooting on the season 49.6, 40.7, and 92.3. He's almost a 50-40-90 guy.
Kessler Edwards
in 40 games.
Sacramento Kings legend.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's 15 minutes a night, but yeah,
that's impressive, dude.
He's shooting just about 50-40-90.
That's super impressive.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kessler Edwards. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320 is the Elk Grove Kia talk line. Let's go to Don. Don, what's going on?
Hammer Kyle, what's up?
What's up, TC?
Hey, just vibing. Hey, Hammer Kyle, hey, listen, this is shoot, right? This for real.
Mm-hmm.
What's y'all think about? Would that be crazy? What's the parameters on that as far as like trying to bring in Taylor to work with Doug, right, to take over Luke's spot? Not saying that pushing anybody out though, but just to have him on the bench with his mentals and to be up under Doug. Could we make that move if we wanted to right now, him?
Thanks, TC.
Okay, so
Taylor Jenkins is for sure not doing that.
Yeah, he's not doing that, man. That's like when you had the idea of bringing in Robert Saleh to be the head coach and having Kyle Shanahan be the offensive assistant.
That was more likely than this.
Yeah, like Taylor Jenkins, if he wants to, is likely going to get a frontline job this offseason. Now, again, if he wants to, but also like there's something going on here. There's more to the story, and we're gonna know more here in the coming weeks.
My guy in Memphis is saying there's not more to the story.
It's possible, but I mean, we're talking about a guy who created a culture there and really got players to play hard and had like a program going the right way.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see how this plays out. Like there has to be more.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see teams that are the 5th seed in the Western Conference fire their coach with 9 games left in the season just because.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't. Taylor Jenkins is not. He's going to take the time off. He's in Cabo right now. Well, not right now because he just got fired this morning. But he's going to probably take a long vacation.
Yeah, I would assume he'll get away from the game, and then the phone calls will start rolling in. I don't know who his agent is, but that agent is already fielding phone calls for to set up. Well, to see if he would be interested, and that's going to go for teams that have coaches and that don't have coaches.
Do you believe the Kings have made the phone call? Let me. I know that you're. How do I? Yeah, no, I don't have a different way to phrase that. Sorry.
Exploratory conversations. Like I don't think the Kings today made that phone call because I don't think the Kings as a whole are in a position where they know what the future is.
Right.
Like, again, last night I saw Wes Wilcox at the game. I had a conversation with him.
His final game.
And that was his final game. And they have, like, it's crazy. He said something like they have until like April 6th to spend all of their NIL money or it goes away. And so the portal's open and they've got to go out and be like super aggressive. And, he's got to learn what all that means because he hasn't been in the college game. But like there is a lot of uncertainty here overall with the Kings. Who's going to be making these decisions? What kind of decisions would be made? And Taylor Jenkins might walk into the offseason and a coach could get fired and he could get hired 5 days later. And I don't think the Kings are in a position where they would do something like that. But maybe I'm wrong.
Sure.
Like, if you think he's the guy, you'd want to be aggressive and everything else.
Yeah.
Just kind of have to figure out, what direction you want to go.
I'm interested to see if there are teams like Milwaukee. Does Milwaukee think that Taylor Jenkins is a better coach than Doc Rivers and can get the Bucks to a different place? Or the Suns? Do they fire Mike Budenholzer in hopes of hiring Taylor Jenkins to keep Kevin Durant in Phoenix? Or whatever. I don't know. I'm interested to see if his availability changes the way some teams go about their coaches this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, we saw the Suns mention, is Mike Budenholzer like long for this world with the Suns? And I think the answer is probably not.
Yeah.
Especially if he can't get along with Kevin Durant
it's a problem.
And of course Devin Booker. But I also look, there's always coaches who get fired at the end of a season that surprise you.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, that seems weird. And this is one of them. Like the Taylor Jenkins
Just
firing.
Getting that out of the way early.
Yeah, it's like a preemptive strike with a very good coach hitting the market. But I also think that there's going to be a lot of coaches that don't feel particularly good right now.
Yeah.
In their place in the world, whether it's, again, Budenholzer, whether it's Nick Nurse, whether it's, there's a bunch of guys that probably don't feel all that comfortable with their standing.
For sure.
And we don't even know what's going to happen in San Antonio. We don't know what's going to happen in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Like, we can start talking. That's 5 head coaching jobs right there.
Just off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah. That basically are unfilled going into the offseason. If they, again, Philly and the Suns go different direction.
Right. Let's get out to the Oak Grove Kia Talk line. 916-909-1320. Don, you're on the Insiders. What's up?
Hello?
Yeah. Hey, Don. What's up?
Hey, Kyle, did you hit the ace first baseman 2 knocks last night on your bets?
No, I didn't. And it's not betting; it's daily fantasy. But yeah, no, didn't get that one.
I did. I got it.
Nice, dude. Well done. I got 2 out of 3 last night. Nice.
And I also got another question. I liked that move last night, bringing Malik Monk off the bench. I thought it really gave us a little more kick off the bench last night. What do you think about that, Mr. Ham?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean,
I
liked Malik Monk off the bench for the previous 2 seasons. I thought he was excellent. I thought the move to put him in the starting lineup at the time was the only move that Mike Brown kind of had. He'd ran out of options, and desperate times call for desperate measures. But look, I think this team is better in its current construction. Like, there could be a different construction next season that makes it easier to move Malik Monk back into a starting role. But for today, I actually this is a win or go home move by Doug Christie. And I thought game 1, it looked really good, and we expected it to look really good. Malik Monk is an exceptional 6-man, and just the energy change that he brings. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to have these conversations, but
they just make more sense.
No, they do.
It all makes more sense. The pieces fit together better when they are aligned in the way that they were aligned last night.
Yeah, and I think, basically by Malik Monk having the toe injury followed by missing 3 games with an illness, it opened the door for this to be a possibility again.
Sure.
And again, it's not like the Kings burned the world down with Malik Monk out of action.
No, but Malik Monk went back to the bench. Whether this is he's been sick, they're easing him into minutes, whatever. This is temporary. But Malik Monk went back to the bench. The world didn't end. Nobody cried. Nobody quit. Nobody demanded a trade.
We walked into the locker room last night. I didn't get Malik. We had to go back and get Doug Christie, but because there was this question we had to ask, right, of Doug about the switch.
Sure.
And Malik was in watching Arkansas play. So Malik has two teams. He has Arkansas because he's from Arkansas, but he also has Kentucky because he played at Kentucky.
Sure.
And Arkansas, of course, lost
Coach
overtime.
Cal, of course, was
in
Kentucky when
with Malik. Yeah. So I thought it was interesting to watch it all play out when we were watching the game in the locker room in post game, and then all scurried back over to get Doug. Interesting night, but again, I think Malik has a personality that he probably isn't going to show how much that bothers him, that he's no longer the starter or that he isn't the starter as of yesterday. But tomorrow is another game. Then, we don't know what it's going to look like if Doug is going to stick with this or not. And I did ask him last night. I asked him two different ways, and others did as well, whether or not he was going to keep Malik in the starting lineup, keep Keon in the starting lineup. And we don't know the answer yet.
We'll find out when the Kings play tomorrow.
When do they play?
All
the days
I don't know when
together.
They really do. I thought today was Thursday for a lot of it. No, I don't know about if the Kings are playing tomorrow. I do know I'm playing tonight, and by that I mean playing Underdog Daily Fantasy, because it is my very favorite way to consume sports. Last night, we had a lineup with the A's and Mariners game. We got 2 out of 3, and thanks to the flex play option, we got a little bit of our money back there. But it's super easy with Underdog's Pick'em game. You pick 2 or more players, you pick higher or lower on their stats. We've been over it a million times. It is a ton of fun. Here's where I'm rocking tonight. I'm going back up to the Pacific Northwest. A's Mariners. Our guy Tyler Soderstrom. I'm going higher than half a hit, run, and RBI. So if he gets a hit, scores a run, or has an RBI, that's a W for me. Luis Castillo, the pitcher for the Mariners, very, very good starter. I'm going higher than 17.5 pitching outs. I need him to get through 6 innings. I think he'll do that. A's starter Jeffrey Springs, who they acquired from the Rays, I'm going lower than half a first inning run allowed. I don't think the M's will score in the first inning. And then Brent Rooker, I'm going higher than half a total base because I don't think he's going hitless 2 games in a row to start the season. So I'm going Brent Rooker with at least 1 total base. I would love for you to play along with me. Download the Underdog app and sign up now using promo code KyleM to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with promo code KyleM. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. All right, the handoff with one of D-lower-KC coming up next. That's James Ham and Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. Jiffy Lube sponsors this program, and it's ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, we did it.
Joe, we're kind of bummed out Joe's not here today. Joe went to the game and shadowed me for a bunch of the game last night, and sat with Charlie, and then shadowed me after the game. It's a really cool story. So let's not forget that for Monday.
I'm sure Joe will still be fired up about it Monday.
Yeah, because our guy Joe had
wait.
the experience of a lifetime.
Joe got to do stuff I don't get to do.
He
must be nice.
Had he big eyes the whole entire night. I can't believe this is happening. It was super, super cool. Joe said, I will not forget to talk about it on Monday. Yeah, super cool stuff. Were you letting it out in the chat here? Come on, Joe. Don't tell all the good stuff, Joe. Still buzzing. Crazy ass night. Yeah, that was Joe from Elk Grove. Yeah, shout out to media relations for letting our guy Joe in. We wanted to make sure that he kind of got the experience and saw some of what it's like to cover a game on a nightly basis.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Oh, 2.5 minutes. That's time to go grab a snack.
Still 2.5 minutes?
Yep. That's a long break.
What in the world?
Bye back, guys.
Fortress Snackitude. Wait, we're talking over commercials?
Oops.
Oh. Kyle's out of practice. That's all right. Were we on the air? Oh. All right. I guess we're on the air. Deuce Mason just reached out. Sweet. We didn't say anything bad. That's good. Hey, what's up, dude?
It's okay, Casey.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, we are. James Ham, Kyle Madsen, and Kenny's here.
What up? What up?
Kenny Caraway of D-Lo and KC. I already had your mic turned on, then you went to turn on your mic and it turned it off. I think that's what just happened.
I ain't touched the mic.
Oh, okay. Maybe I forgot to turn yours on. That's my bad. Kenny
One
Caraway.
of those
What
days.
up, though?
The man with jewelry
Snap.
on his hat.
I'm sorry. I'm distracted.
What's
it's
up?
on and popping now. Young and the Restless is on in the studio. Look at Nick and what? That's not Nick. What is the other girls? These are Newmans. These are Victor's kids. Wow, they've been on there forever.
Oh, wow.
These aren't the people. It's the Victoria, I think is her name. Get these guys off the screen. This is probably Chloe and somebody else. But Nick and Victoria, those two, like Nick right there holding. Oh, look at Victor. Look at my boy Victor Newman. He's still kicking. Let's go. Look, that's the kids. That's Nick and Victoria.
This is wild.
Come on, man. That's crazy. They've been on the show for at least 25, 30 years. Look at Victor Newman.
No.
And Nikki. They've been on the show for probably 50, 60 years. This is crazy. I don't want it to happen, but when they pass away, the show needs to end. Like, you can't have Young and the Restless without Victor Newman. That's all. I got distracted.
You good?
All good. I'm
You
great.
done?
I'm great. Look
Okay.
at the GOAT.
All right.
Victor Newman.
We do have an injury update.
Oh,
The Sacramento Kings forward Jake LaRavia completed imaging on his left thumb after taking a fall in the third quarter versus the Oklahoma City Thunder on Tuesday, March 25th. Imaging concluded LaRavia suffered a bone contusion. LaRavia will be listed as out and will be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days.
Son of a gun.
Was that the play where Caruso, he didn't foul him, actually. It was actually a clean play. It was just Jake fell all crazy. But was it that play maybe?
Probably. Yeah.
It makes sense. He hit the ground pretty hard.
He did. I think he hit the stanchion pretty
Yeah, he whacked
hard.
his head.
Oh, that's right. He flew into the stanchion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was just it wasn't a foul. I think Zach was looking for it, but the replay show wasn't a foul. It was
Alex
just a
Caruso's
weird,
so sick.
Weird.
That was such a silly play.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get a hand on just basketball there? Anyways, doesn't matter.
Just got it.
What's that?
Same thing.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thanks, Charlie. Good win for the Kings last night.
Yeah, man. It's what they needed to do last night against a team that, they got a lot of talent on that Portland team. But, if you're the Kings and you're ninth seed, you're trying to be in the play-in at home before you go on a road trip, you got to handle that one. So they did what they had to do. And it was good to see, everybody play well, shoot the ball well before they go out on this road trip. So
yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff, man.
You got a Kings win. You got a Giants win yesterday.
I did, man. Comeback Giants win, 9th inning rally. Let's go. Let's go. I was hyped. Sorry to my A's though. They are my A's. As long as they're here, they're my A's. We talked about this yesterday, and there's a lot of people like this. I talked to a lot of Sacramento resident Giants fans who were like, "We're not going to fake the funk, but as long as they're here, it's love. We're rocking with them. It's cool." So I actually think there's going to be a lot more of that than even I originally thought of. People who live here who are like, I wasn't an A's fan before, but as long as they're here in Sacramento, I'm gonna want to see them win. I go to the games.
Yeah.
I might even wear gear and stuff like that. I think there's gonna be.
Are you gonna wear A's gear to A's games?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it.
You do have an A's hat. You already have one.
Got the A's hat. Maybe a Ricky Henderson jersey.
Oh, there
maybe
you
a
go.
Lawrence Butler, because that's my boy Lawrence Butler.
Yeah,
one of my favorite players in the league right now.
Tough in my daily fantasy lineup last night. He couldn't get a hit for me, but that's fine. It's fine. We'll get past that.
Damn.
We're moving past.
Did you see in
my guy still.
In D'Lo's daily fantasy? Oh goodness, Kyle's gonna go, guys. He's gonna go.
This is the big one.
This is the end.
I could just pull the muscle in my side.
Well, sneezing and coughing are very violent acts.
I know.
Yeah, be careful, big dog. Oblique.
Kyle's injured himself. Kyle's out.
Go ahead. I'm just stretching.
He'll be
We're
reevaluated in 7 to 10 days.
Kyle Laravia over here.
But in D'Lo's daily fantasy lineup, they had Shohei Ohtani at half a home run. I think he took less.
Wait, that wasn't a special play?
No.
For those of you not super deep into the weeds on these shows, we both have daily fantasy endorsements with different companies, so we can't specifically.
No, and I mean
it wasn't like a special play. It was higher or lower.
Yeah, that's pretty regular. Is he going to hit
for a home run?
Well, I know it's Ohtani, but that's pretty regular. Is he going to hit a home run or not? 50-50 shot.
He does not hit a home run in half of his games.
What did he have last year? 50?
Yeah.
How many games did he play?
150? 160?
That's less than half. More times than not, he does not hit a home run.
Correct.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you just go less or lower?
He did go less. And he hit a home run. He homered yesterday.
But you should just pick lower every time.
Well, yeah, maybe it'll be an every time thing. I don't know if it was an opening day.
I don't know. Anyways,
I would assume that it'd be an everyday thing.
I would never. Shohei Ohtani is one of those players that just I'm never ever in any situation, whether it's daily fantasy, whether I'm in Vegas, I'm never betting against that player.
Never.
So you would have took the more yesterday.
I wouldn't have touched it.
I wouldn't have touched it.
Yeah. Because I don't want to have to have it. I don't want to need a home run, but I also don't want to not need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I got you.
It's the same thing. Like Steph Curry earlier this year, there was a game I was like, man, I think his points, rebounds, and assists for 32.5. I was like, God, it feels like a lot. Like he's not been playing great. Had like 48 points. Like, whatever, man. I know better than this.
That was another one that was not to give D'Lo's whole lineup out there, but it was like 33 points, rebound, and assists for Domas. He's like, he's been struggling lately. I'm taking a less. It was a total of like what 55 yesterday.
It was crazy.
It was
a
22,
big
19, and 6 or something like that.
Yeah, I always look at some of those numbers. I'm like, it's sucker's bet. Like, there's no way you're gonna get that number, or there's no way you think, he's not getting 43.5 or whatever, and then every time you're like 55. Like that one time, it was like 50 something for Joker, for Joker and it was like. I think he finished with 77 points, rebounds, and assists. Like it was so far over. Like
there was the Giannis one earlier in this year when he played the Kings, and I think his number was 50.5. I was like 50.5. That's crazy. That's disrespectful. I'm going less. That's wild. And then he has it was like 70.
Oh
yeah,
jeez, goodness. It's one of those things where this isn't the exact same thing, but it's in the same vein. They say all the time, there are a lot of casinos built in Las Vegas every day for a reason. When you think you got it figured out, no, they've got another casino going up. It's good.
That's why on those days where I'm like, hey, Kings are winning tonight, they're minus 3.5
You're
against
pretty good at that.
Right. When Kings have lost 4 in a row and they're minus 5.5 against the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's like, put the house on the Celtics. What the hell? It's like, yeah, that's what they want.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they want.
No, you're really good at that, actually. I think if we kept a record, you're probably like 7-2 in those games that you call out like that.
That's probably pretty accurate. Yeah, I don't do the predictions very often, but it has to be a really special line for because usually Vegas pretty good.
One of these days we'll be able to, talk about that here.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man.
It'll happen.
Yeah, someday.
They got all mixed up the last time and people weren't on the same page.
Yeah, that was tough.
I'm hearing they're getting on the same page.
The streets are saying?
The streets are saying they're getting on the same page. So I think it would be next year. It would be on the ballot and then go through all this other. So maybe in like 3-4 years.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All my fingers.
It makes too much. Like, there's so much money sitting on the table. Like, why would you not?
Yeah.
Why would you not?
In content. That's what I'm worried about. Do they not think of the content people?
Yeah.
No.
We got content to make.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous. What do you guys got coming up on D'Lo and Casey?
Man, we got Mike Bibby. It's coming up at 1 p.m.
2:30.
Yeah. And then
2:30 or 1?
1 o'clock. Well, unless things change. It was supposed to be 1 o'clock. But yeah, if I didn't get the memo.
Listen to the whole show. Mike Bibby's going to be on at some point.
Kyle Madsen's going to be on. Eddie Gonzalez is going to be on. We'll talk about this Memphis Grizzlies stuff too. This is a trip.
That is wild.
Yeah. It is wild.
In Memphis. All right. For James Ham and Joe Brazil, I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by.
Yeah, she's been on there for about 10 years too. That's crazy. It's crazy. Sorry, it's your show.
10 a.m. on Monday. Drink water. Be nice to people.